Hi there, this is Mar Haddad here again. In this lecture, I'm going to show you how you can connect to the MikroTik router using SSH, but in this case, I'm not going to put the username and password. I'm going to use the keys, the private and the public keys. So as you can see here, the lab is 12 points, but before I start doing the lab, let me give you an explanation of what we need to do. Then we come back to the points and start doing them. We are still on the same lab scenario. My PC and router 1 are connected to the internet and router 2, but I'm not going to work on the router 2. So it's all what's happening is between the PC and router 1. So now I want from my PC to connect to router 1 via SSH, okay? The secure shell that we already know about it because I already explained what is SSH. And in this case, if I want to connect to it, I should put the username and the password. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create keys, which are the public key and the private key. Okay, so the public and the private keys. I'm going to create those two keys. The private, I put it on the PC. And the public, I will import it and I put it on the router. So you have to think of the keys as like one key can open the other. So those are some type of algorithm that one of the keys can open the second keys. So in case you put the private key on your PC, so here is the private key, and here you put the public key, then you make the SSH connection using the keys, and as the keys are public and private that I have already created them, then you can open the SSH connection from your PC to your router. All right, so this is the main idea. We are going to create the keys. I'm using Windows, and I'm going to use the third-party software, which is the PuTTY key generator, in order to create the private and the public keys. Of course, if you are using some other operating system like Linux or like a Mac, so you can also create the keys, but I'm going to show you only on Windows, because on Linux and on Mac, I think that it's possible the operating system itself, the Linux, you can create keys on Linux, but also on the Mac, you can also, without using any third party, you can create the keys. But the PuTTY is free of charge. You can get it from the internet and you can use it to create the keys. And I'm going to show you how you can do that. So this is what we're going to do in this lab. Let's go now back to the points and start doing them. Point number 1, download PuTTY package from putty.org and install it on your PC. So remember, when we installed first time PuTTY, we only installed the binary file. Now we need to install the package. That means the software itself, and we have to do the installation. So let's do that. We go to putty.org, and here we go to download PuTTY. And before we installed we downloaded the binary file, this one. Now we need to download the 64-bit that one. So I just click on it, and you make save, and then the download will be starting. And then when it's finished, I have to go now to my computer and I have to install it, because the PuTTY key generator is only available on the packages. Okay, so let's have a look now if the PuTTY is the software is there. So let's check if it's on my desktop. And here we go. You can see that's the PuTTY that I have there now downloaded. I just double click on it. We need to do the installation now. So I make next, and then we install it on this folder. That's fine. Next, and then install. And you can see that it will install for me the full package of PuTTY, and that's where the PuTTY key generator is also there. So once it's finished, then I can get the PuTTY generator. So actually, you can go to run, and then directly you see the PuTTY key generator. So this one, you can see it. It's already on run on the Windows, or you can go to the folder where you installed PuTTY and you can find PuTTY key generator. You just open it, and this will create for you the private and the public keys. Point number 1 is done. Point number 2, open PuTTY key generator and click on generate. So let's do that. We go to the software, and now we need to create the keys. Remember, we have to have the private keys that we put it on our PC, and then we have to create also the public key. We put it on the router in order for the PC to be able to connect SSH via the keys to the router. So we click on generate, and now it's generating, and here we go. You can see it has generated the private key and also the public key. Now you can put, if you want to make more layer of security, you can put here a passphrase, just a password. then if someone connect to your router SSH via a key, he doesn't directly go to the root. Okay, then he need to put also the password. But I'm just going to make it simple. I'm not going to put password. I keep everything as it is. So we keep this open, and let's check what we need to do in the upcoming point. Point number 2 is done. Point number 3, save the private key on a folder. So let's do that. So this is still open. Now we need to save the private key. I just click on save private key. And are you sure you want to save the private key without a passphrase to protect it? I'll say yes. And now they're saying, okay, where do you want to save it? So I have created here on documents a folder. I name it SSH. Okay, you can just create a folder and put it in a folder. And here I would go and name it, for example, private key. So private key, and then the extension would be PPK, and then I will say save. So now the private key is being generated and it is saved on my folder. Now we have to do the public key, and I'm going to show you how you can do that. Point number 3 is done. We have saved the private key. Now we need to copy the string and paste it into a notepad file, and then we need to rename the file to pubkey.pub. Okay, I make the point number 4 and point number 5. So what we need to do now, we have to go to the folder that I have created, the folder which I name it SSH. Yeah. So this is the folder, and over here on this folder I have to make right-click, and on right-click I just go and create a new text document. All right, and you can name it, for example, pub key. Okay, that's the public key. Then I will open it. All right, what you need to do now is to go again to the putty key generator, and you see this string over here. You copy it all, so you can just make also select all. So you copy all the string, and then you make it copy, and then you come to this here notepad file, and then you paste it over here. All right, and then you save it. So now it is saved. And we can check that if we go inside of it, this has been saved. So what you need to do, then you need to change the extension of the file and make it pubkey.pub. All right. So you have to change the extension name of the file to be .pub. And then you click and enter. They will give you a warning here. You say, yes, it's fine. And then this is the public key. You see, we have now the private key, we have the public key. Now we can use them to connect to the MikroTik router, and I will show you how to do that. Point number 4 is done, and the point number 5 also is done. Now we need to open Winbox and copy the public key to router 1. So remember, we need to take the public key and put it on router 1, and the private key will keep it on the PC, because the private is the most important one. The public is public one. All right, so let's do that. We go to Winbox and we go to router 1. And from here, I will go to the SSH, and I will take the public key and I paste it to the router. So you can see directly it will show up on the file list, and it is copied. You see, it is here, the pubkey.pub. So I have copied the public key to the router. Now we need to import it. Point number 6 is done. Point number 7, we have to import the public key. So that means we have to say to the MikroTik router that if someone is trying to connect to you via the key, look at this key, the public key. So how to do that? We have to go to the MikroTik router. Let's close this one. And now again, we have to go to system. We go to users, and here we work on users and we work on group. Now we work on the SSH keys. So we say import SSH key, and now the user is admin. That's the default one, which has the full privilege. And then now here we say the key file is the pubkey.pub that I have on my file list. And then I will say import SSH key, and here you can see it is the key that I want. Of course, if you go back to the key generator, when we created the keys, we have made it RSA, and we put the number of bits 2048. So that's what is showing over here. Point number 7 is done. So we have imported the key, the public key, to the MikroTik router. And now we have the private key on the PC. So then we have to try to see if we can connect to SSH using the keys. All right, so now we have to open PuTTY and try to make SSH connection to router 1 without using the private key. Does it work? So we don't want now to use the key. We just try to do connection to the MikroTik router as SSH without any key, just like we used to do before. So let's try. I will go here, and this is, I don't need it anymore. I close it, and this one also no needed. Now I go to PuTTY, and from PuTTY I put the IP 192.168.88.1, and I will say I want to do SSH to the router 1 and open. So it says log in as, and I will say admin, enter. Put a password. Actually, there is no password on admin. If you remember, there is no password. So you see it's access denied. And if you want, we can go back to the router here, and we go to the system and we go to user. So we are already there. And this is the admin. And if you see, there is no password. So I can also just click enter. So we are sure that there is no password. And if you want, I can try again on PuTTY. And we go again to 192.168.88.1, and I will say enter, username admin, password. There is no password. If I click enter, access is denied. Okay, so that means now you cannot connect to the MikroTik router using the username and password, even though that the username and password are correct, that are the same as on the router, but because we are using keys, then you cannot connect to it anymore. You need to connect to the MikroTik router on SSH using only the keys. Okay, so point number 8, we cannot connect to it using the username and password because we are using keys now. Now open PuTTY and try to make SSH connection to router 1 using the private key. Does it work? So now I need to use the private key, which I have on my PC, to connect to the MikroTik router, which has the public key, and see if it's gonna work. So let's try. We go to PuTTY. I will close this one and we go to PuTTY. And now on PuTTY, I have to say here, to say that I'm gonna use a key, you have to go to SSH, and on authentication over here, you just click on it. All right. And here you have to say which key you want to use. And in this case, I'm gonna say I want to use the private key. That's the one that I have it inside the document folder, inside the SSH folder. And then I will say open. All right, so I put the key and then I go to session. I will say I want to connect to 192.168.88.1 SSH. And if you want, you can name it, for example, here, we name it R1 or SSH R1 key, so we know that that's a key, and then I save it, so it's there. And I click on open, and here we go. So it says put the username, which is admin, and then yes. You can see now directly that I'm able to log into the MikroTik router because I'm using the right key. All right, so you see, if you don't have a key, you're not able to log in, but once you put the right key, it's also possible to log in. What you can do next time if you want to use that one, so you can go to PuTTY, and instead of writing the username later, you can just say admin, and you say at 192.168.88.1, and remember here you have to put the key, because I'm not using the saved one now, so you can just click on key, and now if you just say open, then directly you are on the router because it sends already the username. Now, I showed you before that it's possible that you put a passphrase when you create the keys. So if you put the passphrase, then once you log in there, it will ask you to put the password of the passphrase. Again, it will ask you to put the password of the passphrase. So I didn't do that, but you can try it yourself, and you will see that it's gonna work. So you see now, once I use the key, it is working. When I don't use the key, it's not working. Point number 9 is done. Point number 10, write on terminal IP SSH print and enable always allow password login. So if we go to the router, and from here we go to the terminal, and we say IP SSH print, enter. You see there is this command here, which is always allow password login. So inside SSH, Now it's saying that you do not always allow the password login, so do not allow that. If you have a key, don't allow that. Now what you can do, you can say, well, I will allow it even though that there is a key. So how to do that? We can say here IP SSH set and then always allow password login, and then you say yes. So now if I say IP SSH print, actually this command you cannot do it on the Winbox, because if you go to IP you don't have here SSH, right? But on the command line you can see that. So if I say now IP SSH print and I click enter, look, now it's saying always allow password login, and it is yes. All right, so what I need now to do, I'm going to use the key, but I will see also that it's gonna ask for the password. Point number 10 is done. Point number 11, try to log in via SSH using the key and without it. Does it work? Let's try. We go first to PuTTY. So I will go to PuTTY now, and I open the one that I have saved it, which is this one with the key. And I will say load and open. So this one is with the key. And you see it asks for the username admin, and then fine, I'm able to log in using the key. That's no problem. Now before, without the key it was not working. Let's try now if it's gonna work. So I go there again and I put this one, which is without the key actually, and if I say load, and you can see now if we go to SSH and to authentication, actually there is a key. So I will write it myself, so I will not load this one. So default settings, and I will write 192.168.88.1. So this one is without any key. So you can see now on authentication there is no key there. All right, and it is SSH and then open. So say login as admin, and then before it was saying put the password. I click enter, it was saying access denied. Now if I click enter, I'm also able to log in using the username and the password. So this is an option if you want that you to be able to connect to the MikroTik router via SSH using the key and using the username and the password, then that's how you can do it. Point number 11 is done. So if you enable the always allow password login, then if you make it yes, then you can connect via the key, but also via username and password. Now we need to disable it again and try now with the key and without it. So we need to disable the always allow password login. So we don't allow all the password to login, and we see if it's gonna work, yes or not. So let's do that. We go again to here, and now I'm gonna say the same comment and I have to say no. So now if I say IP SSH print, you can see that always allow password login is set to no. Fine. Now I go to PuTTY. And from here on PuTTY, I will have to put the one with the key. So this is the one with the key. Let me just delete that one. So this one is with the key, right? And I will say load, and with the key it should work. So admin, nothing, and the password, and it is working. So with the key it's working. Now, if I go to PuTTY now, and I make a normal SSH connection, 192.168.88.1, without using the key, and I will say open. Now we say admin, password, nothing, enter. So access is denied. Access denied. So you can see that once you disable that one, you can only connect via the key, and I highly recommend that, but in a condition that you always be careful that you save the private key. So do not allow someone to know where is your private key. Keep it in a copy somewhere other than your PC, just to be sure that this key will not get broken. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show on this point, that once you disallow it, then you can only connect using the key. Point number 12 is done. And with this point, I have showed you how you can use SSH connection using the keys. And I showed you how you can create the keys using the PuTTY key generator. It's very easy. You just make the steps that I've done, and then you can connect to your MikroTik router using the, of course, the SSH connection. And then you will see that if you are using the keys, then you are able to connect to it without any problem. So this is what I wanted to explain in this lecture. This lecture is not really part of the MTCNA, so they don't explain it on the course of MTCNA, but it's also good for you to know, in case you are using this on your production network, how you can use the SSH using the keys. So I hope this lecture was informative for you, and I'll see you in the upcoming lecture.